So we all know my customers are mostly income challenged and don't make the best financial decisions.
Just got him approved, guys. 0 down. He got payment for 1,000 months, okay? They know that 50% of the people that buy vehicles from them is going to default on the payments.
Okay, so today we're going to be looking at another predatory issue that goes hand in hand with the increased repossession rates, all of the high car payments and insane insurance rates we've seen recently. We're going to be taking a look at the buy here, pay here car lots, what they are and how they could really hurt people financially, because from what we've seen in the car market since the beginning of COVID, I bet the prices on some of these lots look very enticing compared to the dealerships, even though the cars are most likely in pretty rough shape. We're going to be going over some of the scams they pull, how they get some of their customers, because honestly, some of the videos that they put online are just ridiculous. And we're going to be looking at some of the comments from you guys from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave it in the comments down below. But we're just going to get right into it with what buy here, pay here is.
Okay, what is a buy here, pay here dealership? Okay, so a buy here, pay here dealership is basically a dealership that doesn't go off credit. They go off job time, they may go off your down payment, they may not need any proof of income. It all depends on what dealership you go to. So if you guys are not in the car business, usually at a bank lot or a franchise dealership, they'll get a check whenever they sell a car. At a buy here, pay here, they don't get a check. They have to wait for the customer to pay off the remaining balance.
So what this ends up meaning is that a lot of the people who go here don't have the best credit. They won't get loans from any of the normal manufacturer dealerships. Maybe they already have a repossession and they don't have a ton of cash. So unfortunately, what this means is that there are a lot of buy here, pay here lots that take advantage of this. Very, very high interest rates, way higher than any of the stuff that we're seeing right now. It's notorious that the cars on the lot are not in the best shape. Maybe they're salvage titles, they're lemon cars. You've probably heard of countless scams just out in the wild, but some of these people don't really have a place to turn, because if you live in the US, transportation is obviously a necessity. Even using the bus most of the time isn't really optimal unless you're in certain cities. The country is just so large. If you have any sort of job or even have to go to the grocery store, chances are you can't just walk over from where you live and buy your groceries and come back. So honestly, everybody needs a car, but there are tons of people online that know to stay away from these lots. There are tons of skits.
What's up, everybody? I'm with my boy Edgar right here. Just got him approved, guys. 0 down. He got payment for 1,000 months, okay? Interest is 35%. Are you happy, Edgar?
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Drive off. Let's see you drive off in this beautiful Camaro.
I don't care if that car blew up on the highway. We are not taking that car back, son.
Hey, excuse me, sir.
How can I help you?
Yeah, man, I've been to like 14 different dealerships, man. Nobody get me right, man. They told me to come to the buy here, pay here, man.
What make you think we can help you here?
Well, I mean, I got 18,000.
Right this way. Right this way.
We could actually go on and on. There are a lot of pretty funny skits about this, but one of the comments happened to me. Car was $12,000 and he had $8,000 and only needed to finance $4,000. Offer was 20% for 3 years. I left on the spot. We have a comment from one of you guys from the payday loan video that I made a couple weeks ago that goes hand in hand with this topic. This and the buy here, pay here car lots are two of the worst places ever to mess with money. And unfortunately, from what we saw with the payday loans, they are scattered all across the country. There was a stat that there was more payday loan buildings than McDonald's in the US. I still can't get over that, and many of these areas are low income parts of the US, and because of that, you could have payday loan companies right next to the buy here, pay here, taking advantage of people who don't have a ton of money, and the interest rates are unbelievable.
There's a whole lot of buy here, pay here shops up and down North Tryon, and they are all predatory. Every buy here, pay here dealership that you go to, they know that 50% of the people that buy vehicles from them is going to default on the payments. Because of that, 100% of the cars that come from these buy here, pay here's have trackers on them. And 7 out of 10 are going to have kill switches, guaranteed. And they do this because they know the rates are already predatory. You're paying $4,000 or $5,000 more than the car is worth on the sticker, and then the interest rates are 18 to 25%. So this is how they get rid of it. Hedge they bet by putting the tracker and the kill switch on those vehicles, because they know you're only gonna make half the payments. By that time, they're already paid up. They can come and get the vehicle and do the same thing to another person. So a dealership being able to turn off your car 2 or 3 days after missing that first payment gives them all the leverage. If you are interested in taking back that leverage, just give me a call.
Okay, so the first half of it adds on to the negative equity. Most of these vehicles are going to be a little bit older with some miles on it, could have a lot of issues. Like I said before, maybe they're lemon cars, maybe they're salvage title. With those very high interest rates, you are almost guaranteed to be underwater in these cars. And it ends up being more profitable for these companies to roll these vehicles repo after repo if these people can't pay the loan. And that's how they end up getting their money, because they all have trackers and kill switches. I mean, maybe in the future we even talked about, I believe Ford had a patent for new cars to have some sort of dead man switch to self-drive it back to the dealership if there is a repossession. It sounds absolutely insane. But the second half of it, I tried to look this up. It seems like this person is advertising taking out these trackers. I'm not going to advise you to do it all, because some places said that it was okay to do it, others said that it was illegal, so it doesn't really seem like the smartest idea. But if this guy's making a business from taking out the trackers because of how many of these cars end up going back from these lots, you got to know that this whole situation is an absolute mess. Another comment from one of you guys: they don't have to abide by regular banking institution lending rules, which is why the interest rates are so high. They'll repo the car and turn it and burn it, just like I said. Some of these cars will have 2 to 3 contracts on them, and it's all high risk 599 or lower credit scores who already have 1 or more repos, because they can't really turn anywhere else, and there are basically no alternatives if you live in a large area like the US. Now, I won't say that it's just 100% people down on their luck. There are many different advertisements that I've seen basically do the exact same what the manufacturers do, play into, you're a truck guy, you need a nice big F-150, or maybe you like muscle cars, sports cars, luxury cars, make it look like you have more money than you actually do.
You're looking for a buy here, pay here in Georgia, and you heard a lot of them were closing. Not Pars Cars. With down payments as low as $499, and we work with everyone and have in-house financing, you guys cannot beat it. With our newest selection of cars, you could drive off with something for your family, like this, or like this. You could drive off with a truck for your business, or just a truck if you're a truck man, like this, or like this. Or you know what, you're the muscle type of guy. You like to show off the muscle. Well, let me show you what we have in that department. Like this, or like this. Whatever your selection of cars is, we have it for you. No matter your rental history, we can help you. Pars says yes for a reason. You guys come on down.
And this is basically the reason why I make these videos. If you don't have any knowledge about interest rate, car prices, I mean finances in general, throughout all the topics that I make, you could walk into one of these places thinking that you're gonna get a nice F-150, look good, and get absolutely destroyed by the payments. Because I guarantee you that F-150 he showed is probably cheaper than going to a Ford dealership and paying, what, $70,000 for it now? But in the end, if you even could pay it off and it doesn't get repossessed and then moved on to the next customer, the interest rate is so much worse that it's probably around the same price as just going and getting a new one from Ford. And you could kind of say that about any of the vehicles that he showed. But with how unbelievable some of these ads are, it really ends up working. I don't get it.
Have you been manipulated by a narcissist piece of garbage dirtbag mother or bitch? Don't worry about it. F them. Look at this beautiful 2015 Cadillac Escalade. Beautiful red. Look at this beautiful interior. This thing is absolutely like gorgeous. Has a lot of miles like your ex did, but don't worry about it. This thing is only $1,899, so I can get you around a $350, $400 payment, and you get to drive a really nice Escalade. So if you're in the market for a vehicle, reach out. Let me get you hooked up. We'll see you here.
So he immediately starts saying absolutely wild stuff. By the way, half of the video, I'm sunblind. You couldn't have taken a better angle and realized that, hey, I couldn't even see the Escalade in half the video. But whatever, he openly admits that the miles are high. If he's saying that, it's probably ridiculously high. And only $18,000 for an Escalade. I mean, what are they, like 80, 90,000? I think the Escalade V is ridiculous, like 150, I think. Now I actually want to look it up because I think they're a lot. Escalade V starts at $160,000. Okay. But you could look cool and rich to your ex, I guess, with this absolutely clapped out Escalade. But you look at the comment section. This got my attention real quick. Got my attention, stayed for the whole commercial. I mean, I guess that works. Oh man. Here we have another one with an absolutely classic manufacturer. If you've watched any of my car videos, bad credit, no credit, challenge credit. Here's a 2019 Maserati Ghibli. You'd look so rich. Oh man, you're driving around in a Maserati. Way better than any of the BMW, Audi, Mercedes that you see on the road, even though this is clearly the worst depreciating and reliable vehicle of any luxury brand right now. But again, just playing on today's society where everybody wants to look like they have a ton of money when most of us just don't. Here's one of them that I just did not understand. It didn't even go with the commercial, and it wasn't a joke. I don't get this. Okay, so when I went to upload this video, just the audio from this clip on screen shut the entire video down. I really didn't know it was going to be that serious because it was just an off-putting motivational sound clip over what you're seeing right now, just a guy panning over a car lot with just random vehicles. And there was a guy saying something along the lines of somebody's going to take a chance with you and be the best decision that they ever made in their life and you're worth it, yada, yada, yada. It was very odd, no advertising for the car lot or the dealership or anything, but I guess it was still enough to get this entire video taken down, so I had to do this little voiceover. What did that have to do with the ad? What, you gave me a little motivational pep talk and now I'm gonna go buy your Kia Forte? And then again, we look at the comments and I guess it worked. Where are you located? Where are you located? Location. I really just don't understand it, man, but we could take a look at one of the scams at these car lots.
So here's another scam that dealerships near me use to take advantage of people. So we all know my customers are mostly income challenged and don't make the best financial decisions. Still don't make them bad people. But one of the scams that the dealership next to me that's been selling cars for 20 years uses is the old pickup note. Basically what he does is he puts them at a cheap down payment, let's say $1,000. Shows them a car for like a 2015, 2017, whatever, you know, something that looks pretty for them. Tells them they can get into it for $1,000. They'll have two pickup notes, one for the sales tax and one for the rest of the down payment. The problem is sales tax on a $20,000 car in the state of Florida here is $1,400. And if he can't repo them over them missing that pickup note, he's going to repo them on the other $500 down payment that he needed. In addition, he charges payments during that time period. So you swindle somebody into thinking they can make the payment because they only have to get into it for $1,000. So in the first month getting their car, they're going to have to drop $3,000 to $4,000. And they have GPSs, so any missed payment, they take that car. They'll flip that car 15 to 20 times till tax season.
And I bet this is a very common tactic. Basically just hidden fees that turn into thousands of dollars, especially for somebody who doesn't have a ton of money. If they only have $1,000 down, you're honestly guaranteed to get that car back and you made $1,000 or maybe a payment or two. And then you could just do that to the next person and the next person and the next. So these absolute garbage cars, you know, like 10-year-old Hyundais or Kias where the depreciation is so bad that these cars are virtually worthless, you could squeeze a lot of money out of people doing these types of scams. Here we can look at some of the comments. It costs a lot of money to be poor in America. My ex got a $3,000 car for $12,000, paid $600 a month, and eventually let it go because he still owed $8,000 on it. I used to be an auto tech. My favorite thing to do was pull trackers out of customers' vehicles and them not knowing how it got there. Again, I did want to look it up. If you're in any of these situations, some places said you're allowed to do it. Some said that it was illegal. I'm not going to advise it then. Seems like kind of a dangerous game to me, but I just love when these companies make their employees do a very awkward commercial and put it on TikTok or social media in general. It's just pretty uncomfortable.
I work at CarFX. Of course you can get a car with bad credit. I work at CarFX. Of course you can get a car with a repo.
I work at CarFX. Of course I can get you done with 3 months on the job.
I work at CarFX. Of course you don't need a co-signer. Sign here.
He work at Carfax. Of course he got him in the car. He said he's gonna get me in. Yeah.
I work at Carfax. Of course, we're the biggest buy here, pay here in the Chicagoland area and the surrounding suburbs.
So of course this car lot is around Chicago, probably a pretty rough area, and checks all the boxes. If you got a repo, you got bad credit, you could still drive away. And I think that was like a Nissan Armada, or maybe it was like the QX80. And something else that I've seen common with these sort of ads is that they'll get one of their customers to almost testify in the middle of the video that they're not a scam, even though most of the time they are probably raking this guy over the coals. Here's one of them. Came in for a Toyota Camry and left in a new 540 540i. Now I know that this is still the fault of the person going into it. You should have the knowledge of the interest rates and the payments and the upsell that these salesmen are going to push on you, because then they'll make even more money. But this guy was going in for a Camry, probably one of the most reliable cars that you could get right now. I mean, depreciation will be as minimal as it possibly can, and then you end up leaving with a 540i. I bet the payments are way worse. I mean, the comment section too, $899 a month for 84 months, 24.9%. Bro did not want that. Repo Man followed him home. Oil change went from $50 to $60 to $150. That's why I show you guys so many ridiculous clips when it comes to the car market, because it doesn't just start and end with the car payment. The insurance is going to go up. All of the maintenance is going to go up. Even the gas, that's going to be premium gas, or if you get a diesel truck, going to be more expensive than in a Camry. And I get it. I'm into cars. I love to have a sports car as something to have a lot of fun with, but especially from what we're seeing now, most of these people won't be able to afford it. They're just getting persuaded into buying these vehicles, whether it is the salesman or themselves.
These are some of the questions you guys have to ask if you're considering buying a vehicle from a buy here, pay here dealership. Does the vehicle come with a warranty? Some of the best buy here, pay here dealerships, they'll actually have their own warranty company. They will give you a warranty on your vehicle, usually for 6 months or 7,500 miles. So make sure to ask that question and ask them what's covered under the warranty. Do they report to the credit bureaus? It is important that you rebuild your credit, so make sure you work with a buy here, pay here dealership that report to the major credit bureaus. That way they'll report your payments and help you rebuild your credit. Are the vehicles inspected and serviced? Some of the best buy here, pay here dealerships, they'll make sure they sell you the vehicle in the best condition possible, because they have to make sure the vehicle lasts for the term of the loan. They also want to make sure they finance a good vehicle, and that way you make sure you're buying a good vehicle.
Okay, so this guy does ask a couple of questions that could help you if you do go to one of these lots, but he kept saying over and over again that the best buy here, pay here lots would do this, and I think that means that a majority of them don't, because that's why there's such a negative perception when it comes to these dealerships. So many people get scammed. The APR is ridiculous. The cars are not in good shape at all, and it's just easier to constantly repo the car and resell to somebody else and get a little bit more money that way. Now I have a couple clips here that I've put in the high car payment videos, because I think this is adjacent content. I don't think this is straight up buy here, pay here, but what everybody's probably seen, I think his name was Joe the Car Plug. It was like $399 a month for a 5 or 6 year old like BMW for 300 or 400 months. It was ridiculous. So that kind of stuff wasn't really believable, but it was getting views and attention. And then we start seeing other people do similar videos where first time buyer approved for 0 down 2021 Ram 1500, and they always do like the little testimony video. Here, come into our dealership, you get whatever you want. He's got a completely murdered out Ram, but I mean, you know, this payment is going to be unbelievable. The comment sections are always really good. $4,500 a month for 200 months. And then they were kind of making fun of the guy because he was really, really tall and skinny. How does somebody perhaps achieve this build? When I mess up my height sliders, but the last comment, just leave the keys in the ignition for the repo man. Another video here, everyone's approved. $3,000 down for an AMG. And I believe that's a GLA 35, which is probably one of the worst AMGs you could get. I'm not a fan of the GLAs or the CLAs that I've said in previous videos. Ridiculous amounts of money to basically just drive around with the Mercedes badge. But again, another testimony. And here, you could come in, we'll get you an AMG with only $3,000 down. And again, the comments, 300,000% interest. $3,000 down payment is good only if the car costs $27,000. Now, I did look this up. A GLA 35 only has 300 horsepower and you're paying $60,000 for a new one. That ends up being more with nicer options. So even with the depreciation, $3,000 down is probably not enough. Repo Man right behind him driving home. So I mean, in general, you really do have to be careful with going to dealerships. Of course, the buy here, pay here. But even looking this sort of topic up, I started finding very odd videos with normal manufacturer dealerships as well.
What would you tell a first-time buyer?
Congratulations, you got approved.
What's one thing you would tell a first-time buyer?
Where's your co-signer? Where's your money down? Where your parents at? Why are you here? You have insurance already?
What would you tell a first-time buyer?
Bring me some food if you're gonna come buy a car.
What's something you would tell a first-time buyer?
Yes.
What would you tell a first-time buyer?
Come get the car of your dreams at Bakersfield Hyundai. Just make sure you bring your grandma with you.
What's something you would tell a first-time buyer?
Can your mom and dad sign?
The top comment is what everybody thought when we watched this video. Yeah, this makes me not get a car there, not gonna lie. This was a Hyundai dealership making this video. Like, I don't get it. I know it's cheaper than making a legitimate advertisement for TV, but sometimes these videos just don't hit and probably hurts you even more. But we're gonna finish off with a pretty crazy scam a dealership was running on its customers.
A car salesman was just arrested in Texas for assaulting a news reporter who was investigating the shady dealership. This dealership was originally being investigated for scamming customers out of a $1,500 deposit just for test driving cars. After some digging, it turns out that this sales manager and the whole dealership was a lot shadier than they thought. A news crew was sent into Strawberry Auto Sales in Pasadena, Texas. They were trying to question the manager about an issue where customers were being forced to pay a $1,500 deposit just to test drive a car. And even when the customer decided against buying the car from this dealership, they were denied a refund. The manager, David Estrada, became very aggressive and agitated when he was asked about this issue. News Channel has video of him physically pushing and grabbing the camera equipment when they were in the dealership. This was enough for the police to arrest Estrada on charges of assault. But from here, it gets a lot worse for the sales manager and the whole dealership. See, it turns out that Estrada was already facing charges for embezzlement from his last job. At his last dealership, he was accused of skimming over $140,000 off of customer down payments. It turned out that there's a reason that this sketchy dealership still hired Estrada despite the allegations. He's not the only rotten fruit over at Strawberry Road Auto Sales. The dealership has a whopping 1.9 rating on Yelp, and all over the review section you can see people crying about scammers or stealing money or much worse. The good news, Estrada is in police custody, but it is up to all of you people watching to never buy from this dealership again and not condone their horrible practices.
So I mean, this whole situation is terrible. If you are looking for a new car, the prices right now at manufacturer dealerships still aren't great. Maybe it's a little bit better if you get a Stellantis vehicle, but I bet the depreciation is going to be worse. And if you don't have a lot of money, the buy here, pay here are probably pretty enticing, even with the negative stigma that goes along with it. But what is the other option? Especially if you live in the US or Canada. I mean, most of the places around the world, unless you're in Europe with the very small, compact, tight roads, everybody needs a car to survive now, to get groceries, to go to work. Almost no area is walkable, and even in cities, transportation sometimes isn't the safest. How many times have you seen insane stuff happen in the subways in New York City? So there really is no solution to this issue, and I bet these types of car lots have made a ton of money over the past few years from customers. That's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.